My name is Martin Galway. I'm the audio director on Star Citizen. Now, we just finished the first of our orchestral recording sessions, and of course that's to satisfy the stretch goal that we reached back in November of 2012. And it was actually quite a surprise for us back in those days, because we just set that as some far-off achievement goal, orchestral session, we'll never have that, but maybe off in the future. What actually happened was, on the last day of the fundraising month, that's when we hit the goal of $6 million. Pedro Camacho has been a part of the Star Citizen team a lot longer than anybody realizes. Pedro was inspired by this demo on October the 10th, from the videos to Chris flying around and his talk, about what Star Citizen was going to turn out to be.
Just to hear Chris Roberts' name, for me, was enough. Whatever he was doing, he was back in games, it had to be huge and excellent. I was a huge Wing Commander fan.
Pedro Camacho was a Portuguese composer who divides his time between games, television, theatre and real performance music, like his famous Requiem to Inés de Castro. Pedro has already composed for over a dozen games, but I think Star Citizen is his biggest project so far. And Pedro immediately started composing and came up with more or less 2 or 3 minute demo of what would become the Star Citizen theme, and he sent that to Chris, and Chris really liked it. And Pedro also helped us on the 3 commercials that we put out so far, the Hornet, the Aurora, and the 300i, which, the music all sounds incredibly different in each one, but it's all done by Pedro. And Pedro is basically the composer on Star Citizen now. It seems weird to be recording the orchestra so far ahead of the final release of the game. Most game projects, they wait until the last minute so that they know exactly what the tune list is and how long every tune's supposed to be and all that kind of stuff. And in our case, we're releasing Star Citizen in a series of vertical slices. So we're recording the subset of tunes for Space Battle in this first session. The process of creating the music starts with the initial asset list of what tunes we're going to need. And for Space Combat, Chris and I basically went back to the old Wing Commander template and said, we're going to need a tune for this part, a tune for this part. The music's going to vary according to how much damage you've got and things like that. And so it's fully interactive. And once it's broken down into individual clips of, a minimum length, let's say, then we can approach someone like Pedro and say, how long is it going to take to compose all this?
So once I receive direction from Chris and Martin, I'll make a sketch in MIDI and they respond if it's too fast or too slow. Then we go from there and then try to implement that track in the game. So my MIDI workstation has all the notes from each instrument in the orchestra individually sampled. So when I combine them together, they actually resemble very closely what a real orchestra will sound like.
There's the creation of the initial music, if it's a theme or a texture. Then you have the orchestration, which is the adaptation for the large group of players.
Composing is like making a black and white drawing, and orchestrating is like coloring that drawing. That's why I always orchestrate what I do, because I want to be sure that in the orchestra session, I hear the colors I had in my mind.
So for Star Citizen, all the music you hear, every note, comes from Pedro. When the time came to find an orchestra to actually play all these parts, we asked Pedro, what do you think? And he said, well, I really have a good feeling about this group in the Czech Republic called the Capellen Orchestra, headed up by Petr Pololjanek. They are a freelance group of players, mostly concertmasters and the principal soloists, from different orchestras that get together to play these great scores for film trailers and video games. And these musicians have never seen this music before. They're not sent anything ahead of time. It's the first time I've ever seen it. And they're such good readers of music that they can do a good take almost from the first few minutes. The orchestral session is about 4 hours long, and it can be any time of the day, whatever we have booked. In the case of our recent session, it was in the evening from 8 p.m. to midnight. And the orchestra players all came in, by themselves from different places, assembled and sat down, opened their cases. And they would start to play immediately. and they see the first page of the score, they get going, they play the very first take, all 75 musicians going at once. It's quite possible that there'll be a perfect take right from the get-go. They need to warm up a little bit, but you always record from the get-go in case there's a great take. The very first piece of music that Pedro submitted was the Star Citizen theme. And when we have a theme, we basically encapsulate an entity and all of its good sides and bad sides and details into one piece of music. And so we can say, when we're playing this piece of music, you think of this entity. Whether it's a person, a landscape, a planet, a nebula, dangerous environment, or, just the entire franchise.
There are several key themes that will be used throughout all the composition of Star Citizen soundtrack. These themes will be readapted to give a more adventurous or a more sad feeling to a certain moment of the game. For example, Star Citizen's main theme will be reused many times during Squadron 42 storyline in the most important key moments of your adventure.
Our game is no different from a regular film recording session in that it's a bunch of takes. When you play a music CD of the score of a film or a game, and each track sounds like it's complete, it's actually several takes spliced together with a lot of editing skill. And we have engineers that listen to the orchestra as it's playing and make little paper check notes and that kind of stuff as the performance is going through. And if they ever hear a dull note or something that could be improved on, they make a note. The rule of thumb is that you get between 5 and 7 minutes of final music end to end from each 4-hour block, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 5 to 7 minutes of perfect music. And so you need more than one session to get an entire game done. And even our dogfighting module has about 15 minutes of music. And I'm looking forward to that. This is always one of the most fun parts of the job for me. It's not just artists and designers. You get a violin player working in the game. It's a great thing.